what is the importance of hadiths? That's basically it.
Excellent question. So when we see a verse from the Quran, we know many people today will want to misuse that verse, right?
Okay.
The verse will be explicit. For example, the verse about to prepare the seeds of war against your enemy, but if they incline towards peace, then incline towards peace, right? What Islamophobes do is they'll cut off the next verse, or they'll cut out that context. And interestingly, it's the Khawarij or the extremists amongst the Muslims who do the same thing. They will take that verse out of context, and the Islamophobes, the anti-Islam people, will do the exact same thing. They kind of come together on that misuse of the Quran. So what do? They'll take that verse out of context, and then they will use it where it should not be, right? So here, this is the beautiful thing about hadith. And I'll explain a little bit about hadith first. I'll just tell you what's the point. It gives you that context. It gives you that reference so people don't misuse the words of Allah. So when we say غَيْرَ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِينَ, those that, we don't want to be on the path of those that earn the wrath of Allah, or those that went astray, who are those? So if we don't have hadith, then everybody will come up with their own. Ibn Arabi, for example, he gave some strange meanings. Other people like that, they will give their own strange meanings. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, explained that Maghdubi alayhim is the Jews and Dhalin are the Christians. So now we have a clear reference to understand the context of the verse. Hadith also tell us about some verses that were during battle. And that's why I was telling you about some of the Sahaba, the companions. They said, yes, we were there when this verse was revealed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and it was during battle. So then that tells us you can't take that verse and put it in during peacetime. Sometimes or during travel. So hadith really gives us the context needed. The Quran tells us pray. That's the order of Allah. Okay. But what are the minute details about the prayer? How am I going to fold my hand? How am I going to go into ruku'? What verses am I going to recite? That is going to come in hadith. If all those rulings were in the Quran, and look, these are books of hadith, right? Imagine if the Quran had all this in it. How would we memorize it? How would we? Who is going to memorize? Exactly. So the Quran is the words of Allah. It's perfect. It's revealed. Hadith, there are weak hadith. Sometimes they're weak. That's why we have and I have a whole section in the library over there. And my particular passion is in the science of grading hadith and classifying hadith. It's called ilm al-rijal and mustalah al-hadith. So unlike Christianity, where you're like, we don't know who wrote it, but it's in the Bible now. No. For us, if we don't know who narrated the hadith, it's called majhul. It's an unknown narrator. We can't accept it, right? So in hadith, we have books like Al-Bukhari and Muslim, who we know to be a compilation of authentic hadith. Then you have great works of hadith that have some weak hadith. And we reference to know which ones are weak and which ones are strong. And we don't rely upon weak or fabricated or unknown narrators kind of hadith. We only accept that which is authentic. And it gives us that context needed to practice our daily life.